MT Channel Business Services.
Welcome, dear followers, to MT Channel. Today, we're jumping right in to break down the official rules that structure the entire job market in Saudi Arabia. If you find this kind of deep dive valuable, please take a second to subscribe to the channel, activate that bell icon, like the video, and of course, share it with your friends. It really helps us out.
So, let's start with this huge question. How does a whole nation organize its workforce? It seems like a massive task, right? Well, we're going to unpack the key regulations that define employment in Saudi Arabia, using the country's official labor law as our guide.
And here's our roadmap for today. First, we'll look at the government's role. Then, we'll dive into the specific rules for employers. After that, we'll cover how the law promotes inclusivity, the regulations for recruitment agencies, and finally, we'll wrap up with what all of this really means for you.
All right, first up, let's look at the very foundation of the system, the state's employment channels. This is the official government framework, and it's designed from the ground up to connect people with jobs, and, well, jobs with people.
So, Article 22 of the labor law establishes what are called employment channels. You can think of these as free, government-run hubs for the entire employment ecosystem. Their whole purpose is to help workers and employers find each other. But what do they actually do?
Well, their role goes way beyond a simple job board. As you can see from Article 22, they're part matchmaker, connecting people to jobs, part advisor, suggesting career training, and even part data analyst for the whole workforce. That data helps inform broader economic planning, which is pretty clever.
And accessibility is baked right into the system. Article 23 makes it really clear that any citizen of working age can register their details. This creates a standardized, official pipeline for anyone who's looking for work.
Okay, so that's the government's role. Now let's flip over to the other side of the equation. What specific rules and obligations do employers have within this market?
This one is all about speed and transparency. Under Article 25, employers can't just sit on a job opening. They have a really tight 15-day deadline to report any vacant or newly created position to the ministry. The clock is ticking.
And here we see a major policy goal in action. Article 26 mandates that at least 75% of a company's workforce has to be Saudi nationals. This is a core part of the country's Saudization employment strategy. Now, there is a little wiggle room. The ministry can grant temporary exceptions if certain skills just aren't available locally.
But it's not just about those key numbers. Article 25 requires constant, detailed communication with the ministry. Employers have to report who they hired, provide annual data on their entire employee base, and even forecast their workforce needs for the year ahead. It's a lot of reporting. The law also carves out some very specific provisions to make sure that workplaces are inclusive and accessible for everyone. Let's take a look. Article 28 sets a super clear mandate for larger companies. Basically, if a business has 25 or more employees, it is legally required to ensure that at least 4% of its workforce is made up of individuals with disabilities who have completed vocational training.
And you know, this isn't just a suggestion. It's a specific, measurable quota. This chart really visualizes it. The law is designed to actively promote integration and economic opportunity, embedding inclusivity right into the hiring requirements for bigger companies.
So, what happens if a worker gets injured on the job? Article 29 provides a really critical protection. If that injury reduces their ability to do their original job, the employer has to offer them a different, suitable role within the company. This ensures a work-related injury doesn't automatically lead to unemployment. We've looked at the government and the employer, but you know, there's often a third piece to this puzzle: recruitment agencies. And yeah, the law has specific rules for them too. First and foremost, recruitment is a regulated industry. Article 30 is crystal clear. You can't just open a recruitment agency. You absolutely need an official license from the ministry, which ensures all these agencies are monitored and meet government standards. Now, Article 31 provides a vital legal clarification. It says that workers are considered employees of the employer and are bound by a direct contractual relationship. So what does that mean? It means even if an agency finds you the job, your legal relationship is with the company you work for, not the recruiter. That's a huge point. Okay, we have covered a lot of ground. So let's try to distill all of this down into the most important takeaways for anyone operating in the Saudi job market.
The big picture is this. The system is highly structured. The government is actively managing the labor market. Employers have strict duties when it comes to reporting and hiring quotas. Inclusivity for workers with disabilities is the law. Your legal employment relationship is always with your direct employer, and the whole thing relies on official channels and licensed agencies.
This highly structured system provides a really clear foundation for today's market. But, it also raises a crucial question for the future. As the very nature of work evolves with new tech and global trends, how will these fundamental rules need to adapt? It's something to think about.
And that's our breakdown of Saudi Arabia's employment organization. We really hope this was a clear and helpful guide to how the system works.
Thank you so much for watching. If you want more explainers that cut through the complexity of big topics, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, activate the bell icon, like the video, and share it with your friends. Thanks again for joining us on MT Channel.